Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome to Updates. I do one of these videos every weekend to tell you what's going on in my craft room and update you on my various projects. This week I was super busy, so if you sent me happy mail, my apologies, I haven't checked my box. And I didn't do any shopping, but it's early in the weekend too. Right now it's Friday night. Joy of Blue videos post on Sunday, so I need to do updates on Saturday this weekend. So we're early in the weekend. I haven't had time to really make a mess. My room is a little bit clean. Let me show you what I have going on. Okay, first of all, I talked to you about these clips. I think it was in last week's video. I love the clips. I don't love the box so much. I've been having a little bit of trouble with it. So I have a rubber band on it. But I do really like the clips. I've used them twice. They're a little bit short for some of these, or I did one on each side, but I really have enjoyed them and used them on a couple of different projects where normally I would have used glue and had to wait for it. That's something to keep in mind, especially if you sew. I think you would like these. I have pins somewhere too, but then I don't sew over pins. I don't get stabbed in the hand. Recently, I mentioned that I have a book where I write up my projects that I do. It's really handy because I can go back and I have measurements, and many of you have said, hey, can you share that with me? Or, I try and show it in a video. If you're making projects and doing that, jot them down somewhere. The ideas, somebody might ask you about it later that you gave it to, or you might think, oh, remember that blue thing I made? I'd like to make a turquoise one for somebody else. I got mixed up and had two books. This one is really ancient. These are like fabric stickers. I stole this from Mr. Crafting and Relaxing years ago, and I didn't really like the orange cover, so I put stickers all over it. I have gotten confused and put things in both. So this book was started in like 2013, and it has stuff from 21. So my recommendation would be don't have two notebooks exactly the same size on the counter, but that's okay. I can work through it. I realized I had been writing in two different ones occasionally because I can't find my slimline measurements. And maybe I didn't write them down. Maybe I just jotted them on a piece of paper like this. See, I don't even know what I was making here, but whatever it was A2 size. Keep your measurements. It's just a really good idea as you're developing ideas, or if you want to go back to something. And if you make a cardboard template of anything, always keep that too. I'll lose it, but maybe you'll be able to keep it. I do have a slimline card that I wanted to finish. It was a scrap card front that I made, and I had to stop and figure out what the measurements were going to be. This was a UFO that was floating on the counter, so I wanted to turn it into a finished object instead of an unfinished object. I saw an idea on Bonnie and Clyde, and Bonnie is in Australia. I mentioned her in a recent video. Her channel is hard to search for because all the Bonnie and Clyde stuff comes up. I'll try and remember to link below, or I know I linked in one of my recent videos too. She did clusters of stuff out of her essentially junk tubs. That's where she used the clips, and I saw them and I loved the idea and I wanted to do it. So I made some. I sat out on the deck. I'll insert a couple photos. It's fun. I sat out on the deck in the evening with Mr. Crafting and Relaxing. It was perfect weather, no wind, and I assembled these, and then I sewed them together, and then I took the whole big long string to bed with me and chopped the strings between them to see how I wanted them, and the fat cat helped me with that. It was lots of fun. Bonnie made hers more consistently. Like maybe she was going to put some in her Etsy shop or something like that. I was using all sorts of random things. That was ephemera that I fussy cut. It had been sitting around on the counter. All kinds of random things. And I made some for Joy of Blue too, so you can see some in there. I thought while I was sitting around, if we're watching movies or out on the deck or something, I'd make some more this weekend and I would use different stamps. I want to have a lot of different stamps and different colors so that I can mix them into all sorts of journals. I made some for my bird journal too. When you're making ephemera, think about what projects you have coming up. I have Joy of Blue. I have Smash That Small Paper Pad. I don't know if I think I made some with some browns and already threw them in that bin. I knew that I wanted to make a bird journal. I can always use butterflies. Bonnie used a butterfly too, so that's probably what inspired me to do that. You can take any idea that you see or you're inspired by and prepare bits of ephemera or different embellishments for your next thing you're going to work on. Bonnie has like a jar or something, I don't know, I used a jar that she throws thread and stuff into. Honestly, sometimes I set them aside and think, okay, I'm going to save that. But the tiny, tiny bits, I don't keep. So I thought I'd try a jar for a while. They wouldn't necessarily work for me, the real short ones, when I'm doing clips and that type of thing. But I used bits of ribbon, like this ribbon, it's only long enough to go to right there. Any normal human would have thrown that away, but it was in my bin. This was the bin that I was working out of, art journaling, giblets, and embellishments. You might have seen it before. I had to dig through it because all the cute little stuff had fallen to the bottom. So if you're smart, keep the small things in a small bin and the big things in a bigger bin, or just throw them all in one like I do. I throw stuff that I know will work for a junk journal, but I don't want to use on a card and I don't know where it should go. I just throw it all in that bin. It's a shoebox size bin and it was getting full. So it was good that I did some of these. If I didn't already say it, welcome. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate, there's a lot of new people commenting. We're having more conversations, talking about different things. I'm having a great time and I appreciate every one of you. I feel like sometimes my comments aren't sticking. Maybe I'm having troubles with my phone or something else, but I do try to read and comment on every comment that you leave me. Sometimes I just give you a heart. It depends. Depends on what's going on and how far behind I am too. This typewriter I got from my sister. Last weekend I talked about all of my unfinished objects that I wanted to work on and I had them all laid out. And if you think back, I had several journals and some cards that I wanted to finish, sewing cards. I didn't actually have my sister's dog journal on the table. I wasn't thinking about it like, oh, I should finish this. I was thinking that's going to take me forever. I'm going to push that to the side and get some of these other things out of the way. And then my mom said she had tomatoes and all the salsa making fixins ready. And did we want to come get them? And I thought, yes, we do. We definitely do. And if we're coming, I'd like to get the typewriter from my sister, but I kind of need to give her a journal, don't I? I can't be like, hey, I'd like your typewriter, and oh, I haven't even finished. So it gave me incentive to really sit down and work on that dog journal. I did the project share video of that, and I don't know how long it'll take my sister or if we'll circle back and get to see some of that, but I'm sure at some point she will show it to me and I'll try and remember to make a quick flip through or at least take a couple snapshots so you can see how it turned out. I porch dropped her stuff for her and she left this for me. We are being super, super careful. I don't know how it is in your area, but there have been a lot of breakthrough cases here. My cousin, who is significantly younger than me, but lives on the East Coast, just is working her way through COVID, and she was vaccinated and healthy. So please, please be careful. Anyway, this typewriter does not really type because the ribbon's all dried out. It's just, it's the faintest of the faint, if you can see it. So what my mom told me to do is measure this, the exact width of it, and go on to eBay and find one that's that exact width. Now, I'm not even saying that my sister has the right one in here. I'm not sure she does. Maybe that's why it's crinkled up. So if you're a typewriter expert, hook me up, tell me where to shop, send me the link, whatever. But she said, I'm supposed to measure this exactly, and then you buy that and keep these and roll it onto them. I guess you can also re-ink. I don't know that that's something I want to do, but if you look at this, I'm not sure this ribbon really fits it. Maybe that's why it gets that crinkle fold over, little at the top and the bottom. You see that? So if you're a typewriter expert, talk to me now. Tell me what to buy. This is a Corona. I don't know. I dusted it. Got a little paintbrush out. Dusted it. It's a cute little sucker, isn't it? I at some point want to shop for a ribbon. And my idea with the typewriter is to put some sentiments and sayings and poems or whatever in journals that I get to choose. I don't have to buy them. They're not the same as everybody else's. I get to pick them. I just thought it would be fun. It is a loan. It can be a many-year loan. I asked my sister and my mom, because they're pack rats, if they still had my old typewriter, and they said no. And then later my sister said that she had one, and I said, well, why didn't you tell me? And she said, you asked me if I had yours. So my grandpa years and years ago gave me one that was in very good shape, and I carried it around with me, and I probably got rid of it, I don't know, when I was in my 20s or maybe 30s. But anyway, my sister covered me. This is a fun new toy. Right now it just looks cute sitting on the counter. So I put it over there, and it's pretty cute, I think. It's fun. I'm having trouble remembering what I already showed you in other videos. One thing about doing updates, I used to be really careful about keeping things in order for you guys that I filmed. I've given up on that. If Joya Blue is for tomorrow and I mention something about it or there's a slight peek, oh well. Some videos are filmed way in advance and some aren't, and either way you get to see what's going on. I've been thinking about something lately, and it comes up for many of you in shopping and space and money. And this is the cupboard of shame. You've heard me talk about it. It's in quite a situation right now. So there's that cupboard. This shelf is where that other bin usually sits. Those notebooks down there. That whole pile. But see, it's better than it was. This is all journaling paper too. What I'm showing you is journal making supplies and junk journaling supplies. And I have tons of bins. I have Noni's trash that I want to make into one, the bird journal, a beachy one, natural vintage, lots of collage, some fun stuff that Melody Maid sent me. So all sorts of journal stuff. And then up in here, I have some papers that I've dyed and I want to use. So my point in showing you all of that is however you want to do it, think about your space and your time, right? Love my handwriting, and your budget. Because I've been thinking a lot about a printer. I, a while ago, thought, it'd be easier for Etsy if I had a printer and da-da-da-da. And then Noni loves to try everything. When she sees somebody make cool stickers, she's like, we need a cool color printer. And I was thinking about printables for journals. And if you're not familiar with printables, if you watch Gail Agostinelli or Tracy Fox, a lot of people who make junk journals, they print beautiful printables. My room is too messy. I can't find you any right now, but people have sent them to me. Melody was kind enough to send me some beautiful blue stuff, I think on 2 different occasions. If I bought a printer, a color printer, my room would explode. I would see beautiful things and print them and think, I'm going to use that, I'm going to use that, I'm going to use that. So I've really been thinking about my space, my time, and my budget. And the number one thing is I don't want to spend time at the computer. I don't want to spend time surfing for that. If you watch me, you know, I'm a terribly lazy shopper. I would much rather be crafting than surfing online for product. And I know that many of you enjoy that. And if you would be happy sitting around looking at everybody's Etsy shop and looking at the cutest printables and printing them out on your color printer, then a color printer and digital kits is a great idea for you if you think you'll stick with it. What would happen to me is I would end up with more piles of stuff all around my room, right? It would take up space. I would spend time on there. Digital kits, people are so reasonable. Some of our friends make the most beautiful stuff and put it online for just a couple dollars. So it's not a big hit to your budget except for the printer and the ink. You could also I think probably download them at home and just go print them at a print shop, and it would be less on your budget. So the printing itself or buying the digitals isn't the big thing. But I've really been thinking about this, and many of you comment about knowing what to buy and what supplies and too much stuff in your room. Think about what you want to do and how you want to spend your time. If you see gorgeous mixed media products and people finger painting and making really kind of trashy, junked up journals, but you think, yeah, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to touch that, that's fine. I know that some of my friends do the most beautiful Copic coloring. I don't have the patience for that. It's not going to be me. I'm not going to buy all those markers. I'm not going to sit around and swatch them and figure out what goes with what. Heck, I don't even swatch in general. It's okay. Just figure out what you like and then invest your space, time, and budget into that. Does that make sense? Some people love to print things. Maybe you don't like making journals, or maybe you don't like making A2 cards. Maybe you only want to make slimlines, which by the way is a trend, so don't get too hooked on that. But maybe you love that. Okay, you can invest your stuff in that. Figure out what makes you happy and do it. I think that's how I've been kind of trying to look at my weekends too. What would I get the best return on my time for? What at the end of the weekend would make me the happiest? And we joked about, would it be dealing with the pile of shame? Well, it got flatter. I think that totally counts. And there's the wood cover journal that I'm not going to do anything with. I didn't chop up that cherry stuff yet. I just didn't have the heart. Like, what if I change my mind? I was thinking I might cut it big enough to make journals out of 11 by 17 paper. I'm toying with that idea. When you think about your crafty space or your crafty budget, or your crafty time, because time is my biggest limiting factor. I never have a shortage of ideas. Then think about, what do you want to do? I know that I don't want to sit around on the computer because that's what I do in my real life. I want to play and goof off. And I already spend time editing. Maybe down the road, if I am not editing videos, I will surf all over Etsy and find the most beautiful printables. I don't know. I worry that it would just be more paper piled up in my room that I don't take the time to use. I have gorgeous printed papers that I want to make journals with. This weekend, I think what I'm going to work on is probably make some more of these like we talked about. It's Mr. Crafting and Relaxing's birthday weekend, and a bunch of his golf buddies are out of town. So it's not really working out well for me. So whatever he wants to do, right? If he wants to go for a drive or if he wants to go see a movie, stuff like that, that's what we're doing first and foremost. But if I'm crafting, I would say I need to film Joya Blue, and then I need to get started on Basic Gray. And what I was thinking was maybe I'll finish last month's journal for Basic Gray and then maybe even start something else. I don't know. So that would knock out a UFO, clean up that box. I'm out of boxes, and I know I've showed you that I take these and I write the project that I'm working on. It doesn't have to be a collaboration. It could just be, my bird journal, an idea that I came up with. I was dumping all sorts of great goodness of blue into my Joy of Blue bin. It got overwhelming. It was too full. So this time I worked on it, and I was thinking maybe next month I would make a journal with this to kind of help clean it out, and then the rest of it, like I have 5 or 6 pieces of fabric in here that could be journal covers. I should probably put them in a different spot, not keep them in this bin, so that when I pull it out, I'm not just overwhelmed by all the good stuff. I know what I want to work on. That's what's kind of nice about these bins, is I usually use my bins to make a project kit. This isn't a project kit. It's 72 different blue things. I was also thinking about new stuff that I wanted to start after I made that video. I was like, okay, I'm not going to start my cross stitches till I figure some things out. I also want to have maybe a day, maybe an afternoon. I'm slow, so it needs to be more than an hour, where I make tassels. Melody Maid did a new video recently. She makes tassels on a pretty regular basis, but she did one where she made a blue tassel, and the camera angles were really good. I just thought it was a great tutorial, and I thought, I'm going to sit around and I'm going to use that video and I'm going to make tassels. Maybe like assembly line, right? Lay like 4 or 5 of them out. There's only one hard part in the whole making process, and it's like, she says, pull this string and then it tightens up, and mine falls apart sometimes. But even if it does, you can get it back together. So I think I need to rethink my Joy of Blue organization, but I'm out of bins. I had to put some stuff that I made, Tiny Peak for Joy of Blue, in here because I didn't have another iris case. So I've got to get that one emptied out. And my room is just really full. That's why I've been thinking about space and time and budget. And I don't mean to sound like ungrateful about it, but it is too much for an unorganized butterfly like me sometimes. So I have to rein it in. Okay, I wanted to tell you also, I'm really loving these. The more I use these, the more I like them. I hold my die cuts when I put glue on them. I lay them on the page. I am really enjoying these sideways, what do you call them? Reverse tweezers? I don't know. They're in my Amazon link down below. I think that's it for this video. I'm still working on my video about the area near me. I needed some more footage, and I think Mr. Crafting and Relaxing helped me get it. So I should be able to put that together. I was also thinking that on one of the Smash Our Stash free choice months, I should just do something like this. Like, I should just go down the counter and say, okay, let's use this happy birthday or this sentiment or this butterfly or this tag, like whatever is sitting out, just start using a bunch of this stuff because it kind of piles up. I know that Smash Our Stash is buttons coming up, but I think there's a free time after that. So maybe I could do it for those. And I have so many buttons that I really should do something amazing for Smash Our Stash. I don't know. We'll see. That's like a whole month away. I have lots of time, right? Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you're taking time for crafting and relaxing and staying safe. Bye-bye.